Are you looking to book or have an upcoming cruise on the MSC Seaside?
You've probably seen the reviews. Terrible food, awful customer service, even being referred to as a prison upon the waves. But is it really that bad?
Join us as we break down our experience on our recent trip, looking at everything from food, drinks, entertainment, and more.
And find out if the seaside is worth booking for you and your family, or if the thought of sailing on it is already making you seasick.
If you found this video helpful, please do us a huge favor and hit that like and subscribe.
Now, before you embark on your upcoming cruise, there is an online check-in tool that you should make use of. You can find it on the MSC website or with the MSC For Me app. It's available for you to check in up until 48 hours before your departure from port, and you can set up your profile, take care of your identification requirements, and buy and confirm your Wi-Fi, drink packages, excursions, and more.
Our boarding time was set for 3 o'clock, but we arrived around 11:15. So instead of just waiting around outside in that hot Floridian sun, we decided to try and get on.
First thing you do when you arrive is you drop your bags off to the porters. If you are bringing in bags that need to be carried on, you could also opt for less luggage and just carry on your carry-ons yourself.
We then went through security, which was pretty standard. We got our passport checks, went through the metal detector, and then we went in to get checked in.
That's where we were worried if we'd be able to get on the boat. Again, we were 4 hours early, but we got in the lineup, went up to the staff. He was nice and friendly, and he didn't even bat an eye. He let us on the boat, got us our cards all set up. Then we just started walking towards the boat to start our journey.
Once we boarded the ship, we were welcomed by another set of security where they scanned our boarding pass, which will be really important for you throughout your trip. The boarding passes were used for drinks, activities, even shopping.
These passes that are given to you during check-in are your lifeline on the boat. But if you don't want to carry around a boarding pass all the time, there are contactless wristbands available for purchase that serve the same function.
In the actual atrium, you get to see the famous Swarovski crystal staircase. They are absolutely gorgeous. There we met up with the MSC mascot, Do-Re-Mi, who took pictures with us and helped welcome us to our cruise adventure.
Not all bars and restaurants are open before you first disembark, but there's still a handful of them. When we got on, we headed up to deck 16 where the Biscayne Bay Buffet is located. We grabbed some lunch. Then we headed out to the Miami pool bar to grab a couple of the drinks before our room was ready.
Once our room was ready, we had to do something that all guests must do, which is their mandatory safety drill, which conveniently takes place in the room. We had to watch a safety video in our TVs, which basically gave us all the safety information that we needed, followed by going to our muster station. After that, we were free to just roam around and enjoy the boat.
And luckily for us, our bags also appeared right after the safety drill. Here's a tip for when you're boarding your cruise. Always bring with you in your carry-ons what you need. We made the mistake of packing our swimsuits in the bags that we had checked, so our daughter was quite anxious to get into the water, and we didn't think we'd be able to get in the pool the first day, but luckily, right after the safety drill, the bags did arrive. Always bring with you what you absolutely need, but other than that, leave it with the porters at the gate, and hey, it will arrive when it arrives.
Speaking of the room, we stayed at a balcony Fantastica room on the 12th floor. The room consisted of a queen-size bed made up of 2 single beds, and that bed was surprisingly comfy. I mean, the pillows definitely were. There was also a converted couch which turned into a bed, which is great for children, and the room really made great use of the space, don't you agree?
You had ample room to move around. There was a desk, there was a TV, there was an area to sit down and write some notes, and it didn't really interfere with going to and from the bathroom or the balcony. Speaking of the balcony, it was a great size. It came with 2 chairs. This room didn't have any obstructed view, and it was perfect for late night watching. The water is just beautiful in the pitch blackness.
A room attendant was always nearby, friendly and wanting to make sure that we were well taken care of. We saw him one night at 9 p.m. and had recently returned from the pool with soaking wet towels. He was happy to swap the towels late at night, so we had dry ones for the morning. Let's talk about the food.
There are a number of complimentary restaurants on board that are included within your cruise price. The biggest place of convergence is the Marketplace Buffet, located on Deck 8. It's a large buffet. It's got lots of options, your standard fare, plus carved meats, international foods, a kids-specific section that a lot of adults also indulged in. Now on MSC cruises, people always compliment the pizza. It's very good and popular. Try the pizza, but be prepared to wait. There were always lineups, and you had to stand there making sure you got a good slice. The pepperoni was on point, but they also had this tomato marinara pizza, which was delicious. While the options were similar day to day, there would also be a number of food items swapped in and out. For instance, on the last day on board, we found fish fritters in the international food section. They were so yummy in my tummy, but we only saw them on the last night.
So yummy. The other buffet is a Biscayne Bay Buffet on Deck 16. It's a smaller buffet with basic food options, of course. Get your pastas, your hot dogs, burgers. There's a small pizza section as well as a salad and selected desserts.
The Biscayne Buffet also had a soft serve ice cream machine. It had your vanilla, your chocolate, and your swirl. That's my weakness. I don't know if you knew this, but I went back a couple of times late at night after you fell asleep to grab a... You didn't know this.
Wow. No, okay. I'm shocked. That's
okay.
Shocked.
That's okay. I had a good time. I hope you did.
I just wish you would have woken me up, that's all.
Now, the main dining hall on the ship is the Seashore Restaurant. That's located on Deck 5. It does serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner, although lunch is a very short period of time. And you know what? Not a lot of people know about breakfast. It's not that busy. There are assigned dining times for the Seashore Restaurant, which you choose at the time of your booking.
We ate at the Seashore Restaurant for breakfast and dinner. The reason why the Seashore Restaurant holds a special place in my heart is because of that lasagna. Now, the lasagna is one of the best we've ever had. And I'm so glad that we got a chance to try it while we were there.
It was delicious.
It was so good. It was warm, gooey. The lasagna is so worth it.
You just gotta try it.
Now, breakfast was a standard fare, but if you didn't want to brave the crowds at the buffet early in the morning, head down for a slower pace. You had your toast, your bagels, your pancakes, your bacon. It was all there.
One thing I found about the service at the Seashore Restaurant was it was a little slow, but there were a lot of servers waiting on you, and they were all very friendly, very good with children too. Kind of felt like a fancy atmosphere, but you didn't have to look fancy. Now, we talked about the lasagna earlier, and if you want to make sure that you get the lasagna when you go there, keep an eye on the menus. They update daily. If you're not sure if you want to do the buffet or the restaurant, the new menus are made available daily for you to check out. We decided not to go one night simply because they didn't have lasagna on the menu that day.
There are multiple paid restaurants on the MSC Seaside, including an Asian restaurant as well as a steakhouse. And there's also a couple locations of Venti chocolate, which has premium gelatos, chocolates, and drinks. We enjoyed one of the thickest hot chocolate with whipped cream one night. It's totally worth it.
Now, when it comes to food quality on MSC cruises, people often complain about the food. Our thoughts were, if you're an extremely picky eater, you may not love everything, and frankly, you might have a terrible time. Like, if I was to complain about anything, I thought my shrimp risotto was a little undercooked. But just listen to that sentence. If my biggest problem was that my risotto was slightly chewier than it should be, then I was having a good time. The thing is, if your risotto doesn't come out to meet your exact expectations, head up to one of the buffets and grab a slice of za.
Alright, now let's talk about the drinks. So we had the Easy Plus drink package, which allowed us to order any drink up to $10. When ordering, we could only get one drink per boarding pass. So that means you can't be ordering 10 drinks at one time.
But you could go up and order one, take it back to your table, head back, order another one, rinse and repeat 8 more times, then you've got your 10 drinks.
Now, what did you think of the actual quality of the drinks?
If you were to compare it to some all-inclusive resorts, I found the drinks were pretty good quality. They didn't hold back on their pours. The glassware came in appropriate glasses based off of where you were. Like pools, you had more plastically glasses. Inside, you had some glasses. The champagne bar, it was fancy glasses. So I thought they were fine.
I completely agree with you. I felt like the bartenders really appreciated the art of bartending. Your Cosmopolitan had the right amount of olives. Each drink was garnished so beautifully and was so Instagrammable. It really looked like they enjoyed their job.
I think one of my favorite drinks was found on the Miami pool bar. It was a frozen Toblerone, and it looked great, and it tasted even better.
I had a few sips of that one. That was really good. My favorite would have to be the peach Bellini at the Champagne Bar. The Champagne Bar is such a fancy looking area. I really love being there, and that drink was just perfect. Beautiful and delicious.
Another spot that we frequented often was the Jungle Bar. It was on deck 18 near a couple of pools. And the Shine Bar on deck 6. We had a couple of late nights there just talking, playing some card games. It was a good time.
There are lots of great activities on board the MSC Seaside. One of the main areas is the Miami Beach section. That is where you had the sail away party, the white party, dance classes, and even some trivia. There's also a pool there, and I have to be honest, I was a little disappointed when it came to the pool. The pool was very small and extremely deep.
It wasn't the most enjoyable experience. Everything else around the pool had a much better vibe of being in the pool.
Yeah.
I appreciate that there was a pool there, and that definitely added to the aesthetic and the feeling, but we didn't spend much time in that pool after we hopped in the first time.
Not at all. We hopped in and we immediately hopped out. Now, a couple floors up on deck 18, you'll find the jungle pool, which was a totally different vibe.
The pool was still deep, but it was a lot less crowded, and we were able to swim in peace.
The jungle pool had 2 hot tubs, a bar, and it was also just an aesthetically better looking area. You had a great view of the ocean. They had this greenery around. It was just a better atmosphere up there.
There was also some ping pong and foosball tables around to challenge your friends.
The kids club is also found on this floor where parents could drop off their babies, toddlers, kids, and teens and get some precious alone time.
The Forest Aquaventure Park is also on this deck, where we probably spent the most time on board. Our toddler loved it. There's mini water slides. There's a pool that's a great size for kids with water falling on them at all times. It's very fun, very colorful. And it's also where you can find the water slides on board for adults. There's a water slide that you can take a tube down, and there's numerous ones where you just slide down and hope you don't end up in the ocean. I went on a couple, and they were absolutely a blast. This floor is also where you can access the zip lines, which come at an extra cost.
You could also access the sports courts from this floor in case you want to challenge your friends at a friendly game of basketball.
Above the pool, too, there's a fun little jungle gym area that allows you to walk across some tight ropes in these little tree houses. That's great for balancing fun with your kids and adults alike. I was able to check it out one night when there was nobody there, and it's tough. So be careful, and don't drink too much. You might fall down. In the Miami Beach area, you'll also find the Bridge of Sighs, which could be the most terrifying activity on the boat if you're afraid of heights. You walk across a glass bridge and you get a look down to your doom. Or, just the bottom of the boat. It's your standard fare glass floor. It seems scarier than it actually is. You're not gonna fall if you walk across. But it's a cool little addition so high up on the seaside. If you're too afraid of the heights on deck 16, you'll also find another infinity bridge a little lower on the boat.
When it comes to entertainment, deck 7 is where you had to be. There you'll find the arcade, play bowling, arcade games, check out an F1 simulator, there's a 4X experience, and you also find the adults only pool.
If you'd like to go up and down as well, there's a glass elevator on deck 7 that you could ride to the top, and then down again, then to the top, and then down again. If you don't want to wait around at the elevators where you actually have to select each floor and wait for the right elevator for the right floor to arrive, it can take up to 2 to 3 minutes sometimes. The back glass elevator wasn't used a lot, so it could be a little life hack for you while on board. The first floor you can get on it, though, is deck 7. It goes all the way up to deck 16. On deck 6, you'll find the casino where you can play a lot of slots, some table games, lose some money, and also enjoy a drink at the bar. In addition to all the activity zones, there's lots of events that go on throughout the day. There's game shows, there's parties, there's dance classes. We actually enjoyed a couple of rounds of trivia. We won't reveal our overall results, but let's just pretend like we won every time.
Oh, we were definitely winners.
Even if it was only in our own minds.
Deck 6 and 7 is also where you found the theater. And every night, MSC Seaside held an entertainment show.
There were multiple shows every night, so if you missed the first showing, it wasn't like you were out of luck. On the first night we were on board, we saw Peter Punk, which was a mix of Peter Pan, Pirates of the Caribbean, and acid. Lots of physical performances, strong men, contortionists, and more, just dancing, and I don't really know what the story was, but man, it was great.
It was kind of strange, but they were talented.
Absolutely. On the second night, there was a stand-up comedian. They had a PG-13 show and also some adult shows. We ended up skipping that night.
And on the last night was Star Walker, which was a Michael Jackson tribute show. We've seen our fair share of Michael Jackson shows at several resorts, but this one was beautifully done.
The person playing Michael Jackson was great. I really enjoyed the Thriller number. Oh, you know what activity we missed talking about?
What?
Shopping.
Oh, how could we forget?
I know you spent a lot of time doing this on board, so walk us through your experience.
After the shows, we're led out of the theater right into the shopping area. And once you're there, you're welcome to this beautiful lobby. Got music playing, shops, things are on sale, things are duty free. You just can't help but want to get something.
There's toy shops, art shops, clothing shops, jewelry shops, duty-free shops, and one of your personal favorites, there were a couple of bag shops too.
I did treat myself to a little bag, and our daughter got a toy as well. It was just so much fun. It was also really easy. All we had to use to pay was our boarding pass.
If you are going on a trip on the MSC Seaside, there's a good chance you're going to stop at Ocean Cay Marine Reserve. That's an MSC private island. On our cruise, we stopped there, and it's going to be one of the nicest private islands we've ever been to.
Really, really nice.
Once you get off the boat, there's a little shopping area. A short walk away, there's a beach that has a nice view of the boat. And the lighthouse, where there's a lighthouse show every night at 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock. It's a nice little thing to watch either from the beach or from the boat, whatever your preference is. And at the lighthouse too, if you want to trek all the way over there, you'll find a lighthouse bar to enjoy a couple of drinks and maybe a snack or two.
The first thing you want to do once you arrive at Ocean Cay is to find a great seat at the beach with an umbrella. One thing about the island is that as beautiful as it is, there is not a lot of shade. So make sure you get there early to get a great seat with an umbrella so you can enjoy your day on the island.
Our favorite spot to swim on Ocean Cay was at the lagoon. The water can be a little deeper, but it's not as crowded. It's a slower pace of life, and also it's right next to the buffet.
At the buffet, you'll find some typical food to eat at the beach. Hot dogs, hamburgers, standard salads, fries, pastas. They also had a fish dish that I really enjoyed. But overall, it's not as vast as the onboard buffets.
While you're on the MSC Seaside, you can access the MSC app. I found before boarding, the information was inaccurate. It told us there was only 2 shows happening in the theater, and that was a showing of the Jurassic World movie and a rock show. Neither of those things actually ended up happening, but once we boarded the ship and connected the Wi-Fi, it worked great. It was like a completely different app. It updated the daily activities. It allowed you to book your tickets for the real theater shows. You can book a show 24 hours in advance. On the app too, it keeps track of your payment, and if you're concerned about being overcharged something, keep your eye on that too in case something pops up there that just doesn't make sense. Now, if we were to look at the app overall, there was a lot left to be desired, like interactive maps of where you were, where stuff was located, being able to search where certain foods were found, drinks or activities could be enjoyed, would be nice additions, but it functions on board and well on Ocean Cay as well, a lot better than it does before boarding and connecting to the onboard Wi-Fi network.
As the cruise gets ready to end, the disembarkation process begins. The night before, you're invited to put out your bags and are provided your time for leaving the ship. MSC has the process down. It was smooth, orderly, and if you listen to their instructions, you'll have no problem getting off the boat and on your way to your next destination.
If you decide to leave your bags out overnight to be taken off the boat for you, you can get off before your section is called, but you'll be stuck waiting for possibly hours until your actual disembarkation time is called. Now, if you have a late disembarkation time, instead of rushing off the boat, take some time to savor your final morning on board. Have a long breakfast at the Seashore Restaurant. Enjoy a second breakfast at the Marketplace Buffet. Go back down for a third Okay, now you probably don't have enough time for that. Would you go back on the MSC Seaside?
Absolutely. I had so much fun, and it was such a great experience.
It was also quite affordable. We only ended up spending around $200 per person to board the boat for a 3-day cruise.
It was a really great getaway, and I know a lot of locals from Florida go on the MSC Seaside for just that, a great weekend getaway.
The food was good, the service was friendly, and if this is truly a prison upon the waves, then lock me up for 25 years.
If you found this video helpful, please hit like and subscribe.
And if you've been on the MSC Seaside before, please let us know your experience in the comments below.
And check out more of our content by clicking the video on the screen.